Yay. Here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
We made it. Welcome, everybody. We hope you have had a wonderful Sunday, and we're delighted that you're here to join us. And Rachel has been on a course. Would you like to give us a quick little rundown on your weekend?
Yeah, sure. And I'd like to apologise for running late. Thank you for the people who've waited for us, if anybody has. I can't see, by the way, Alexis, any comments because I'm on my phone. So are you able to track them later? Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty exhausted, but happy to be here. I just finished a 2-day psychodrama workshop, and I thought I'd talk to you about the process that I learned in this psychodrama workshop, which is really about using drama to sort of play out the different voices and parts in your own sort of life. But it was so exhausting, and I'm still processing it, that I'm going to have to wait and talk about that another day. Yeah. But today we've got a related but different topic. Would you like to introduce it, Alexis?
I would love to. Thanks, Rachel. May I also introduce Dr. Rachel Hannam, Clinical Director and PhD from North Brisbane psychologist, and myself, Alexis Dennehy, Public Health Practitioner, Naturopath and Somatic Therapist here in Graceville at One Natural Therapies. Today's topic is one that Rachel and I are quite passionate about and practice regularly. It's become the foundation of our community. And the question I had for Rachel to start with is, what is the number one strategy that you recommend as a psychologist for couples who are looking for deeper connection? I already have a bit of a
just couples or friends or
yeah. It's true. It could be friendships. It could be parents, and children. Yeah, families. It could be really all relationships. So we'll ask. Yeah, I'd love to hear your question on that one, or your answer to that one. But just to fill people in on what's to come, Rachel and I are going to demonstrate a really simple communication strategy that we use in the community, and give you a little bit more context around around what this particular practice is. So yes, Rachel, what do you recommend?
Okay, I think I'm finally with the program. Thank you. And everyone else will get with the program at some point too, I'm sure. So I really welcome your question, because it really made me think, how would I answer that? Like, what would be my top answer to the best way to strengthen or deepen connection with a person who you care about? And my number one answer, I think, is start your communication as much as possible with expressing a feeling. Because what happens if you have a mind, and most human beings have a mind, maybe highly enlightened people don't have a human mind anymore, but most of us have this storytelling machine between our ears, and we go up into our heads and we get caught in our thoughts and our stories and our narratives, and that's fun and that's fine. And there's usually or mostly there's no big problem with that until there is. And what we forget to do is we forget to express our emotional feelings to one another. We just probably don't do it enough, I think. And then I remember to do it, and then I think, gosh, it's really powerful to say to my child, I feel a bit hurt when you speak to me in that way, or to say to my partner, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, or I'm feeling a bit confused. And that's such a simple answer to your excellent question. And yet it still occurs to me that we tend to track our thoughts and we don't track our feelings. And tracking our feelings and tracking other people's feelings, what I mean by tracking is just kind of noticing over time how they come and go and shape shift and change. And what am I feeling now? What are you feeling now? And if the answer is I don't know, that's so fine. But just not forgetting about our feelings, trying to keep track of them so that we can use our feelings to understand what it is that we're caring about or wanting or needing or valuing in that situation. It's such a cliched answer, But I just think it's so easy to forget to express and ask about emotional feeling, and it's very vulnerable to do so. I get why we go up into our heads and our, because that's a bit of a protection mechanism against feeling vulnerable. That's my answer.
Okay, so starting with a feeling, that's interesting because, you know, being an emotional type, I knew from a young age that I needed to get a handle on my emotions so they didn't handle me. But I have found that most people don't respond very well if I start with I'm feeling. Not that they don't respond. I guess maybe it's become, like you say, a cliche, or they've typecast me, or, you know, I find if I start much more matter-of-factly, that it tends to put us on an even ground rather than, and it may also come from my history of over focusing on feelings at the expense of other things in my life. So it's just a bit of a devil's advocate's.
No, that's good. I appreciate all the different sides, because there isn't really one answer to the question. It's so context dependent. You know what I find really powerful? When people express feelings, like a strong feeling in a really neutral, calm way, like, you know, I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed right now. There's something about slowing down the pace of your speech and the tone of your voice and actually letting the power of the words come through. Sometimes that's really powerful.
And probably what we're trying to do culturally when we ask, how are you, as our opening statement, is acknowledge that we value each other's feelings. We've lost your face, Rachel.
Oh, sorry. I thought I could change my view. Like, my phone just told me I'm muted. I'm not muted, am I?
Not muted. No, we're hearing you.
Yes, I agree with that. And, you know, I don't just mean feelings like I feel overwhelmed or I feel confused, but just noticing how things live in your system. Just anything that gets us out of our head, at least sometimes, I think is very useful to connect with the other person. Because, you know, you hear people speaking at cafes, on trains and buses, and they're telling each other stories. And it's fine, you know, this is what we do as humans. But if you want real intimacy, I think you have to go down to the next level, catch the subway and kind of go to what's going on right now. How, you know, how am I experiencing life in this moment? And this leads me to the process of the dyad, because the dyad's very much kind of how you're experiencing, you know, a concept or, you know, a value or a feeling right now in this moment. It might change by tomorrow, but how is it for you now is kind of the underlying principle of the dyad process. Do you want to talk more about that?
Yes, definitely I do. And what's just occurring to me as you're talking, that maybe that's part B of the answer to the question, what strategy do you recommend for deepening connection?
Yeah.
Not only starting with the feeling, but that the feeling is present. And I agree, I think a demonstration of the dyad is probably going to be the simplest way for people to grasp what we're talking about. By way of introduction, and you might well have more to add to this, Rachel, but my understanding of the dyad is that it's an interpersonal meditation. We're focused on what's happening, what's arising in the bodily experience right now, and sharing that with somebody who is very present, and present being attentive, aware, focused.
And listening without interruption.
Yeah.
Which is what I just did now.
Yeah, that's right. Listening and without judgment or any intervention, really, a spacious listening. And the introduction I've had to the dyad was through nonviolent communication. And the really meaningful ones have been very calm and very contained and defined by time.
Yeah.
Anything else that defines the dyad for you?
It's not a conversation.
Okay.
So, you know, we all think we're above average listeners, but we can't all be. I'm not an above average listener. I love talking. So the dyad process really gets us out of conversational mode. And instead, the speaker is in expression mode. They're just expressing what's arising in the moment. And the listener is really in listener mode. And that's different to conversational mode, where I'm preparing what I'm going to say next, because, you know, you've just sparked something in me and now I want to share it. It's not that. And it's quite rare to get that experience in this culture of, you know, leaving behind conversational mode. There's nothing wrong with conversational mode, but like, yeah, you just feel so heard in the dyad. So maybe we could just go into demonstrating it.
Let's do it.
So just the way that we tend to introduce a dyad, say in a group, but you could do this with an open-minded partner or friend or family member, is pick a value or a need, which, you know, comes up in daily life. It could be honesty, it could be trust, it could be support, it could be respect, it could be empathy, it could be contribution. And then when I do this colloquially, I might say to my partner or my child, what does that mean to you? And we'll just unpack it. But we're going to do it a little bit differently, aren't we? How are we going to do it? I can't remember.
Well, the question that you and I have used is very open. The one that we've used previously is, what is alive in you now? Do you think that's too vague for our listeners?
We could do that one, or we could pick a particular need.
The topic that's front of my mind is presence.
Okay. Well, since we are talking about being present to another human, yeah, let's do that.
So would you like to do how many, if we do 4 minutes each, that allows a little bit of time for people to ask questions, or are you thinking 2 minutes, and then time for questions?
Let's just say that when you do this in practice, it's good to have 2 or 3 iterations or rounds. So you come back to the question and you do it a second or even a third time, but we might just demonstrate doing 1 round, which means I have a go and you have a go.
Sounds great. Okay.
Just to give people a bit of a taste.
So I'm going to set the timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, counting down.
So, Rachel, what does presence mean to you?
So I'm going to feel into that question and kind of see how it lives in me as well. And sometimes I close my eyes when I do this, because I want to turn my attention to, first of all, the word presence, and then how it feels. So for me, presence is about tuning into where I am right now, what's happening, what I can see, what I can hear, how my body is, my physical body, how it feels in space, how it feels to be in my body right now, what my breath is doing. So that's one kind of presence, is just inviting myself to be here now and pay attention to my physical self, my surroundings, my breath, and not pay so much attention to my thinking, which is normally what happens. I might still be aware of my thinking, but I'm not caught in it. And then when I feel present, something shifts in me. Like even as I'm saying, be here now, I'm seeing the tree outside my window and noticing cool air on my skin and just the sound of my voice. And it feels relaxing. It feels calming. I notice that I want to breathe a bit deeper. And I notice that I want to slow down. And I notice slowing down when I'm present. And I notice quietening of my thoughts. That enables me to just take more in. I can take more in. Whatever comes into my system, I can just be with it. I think I can be more patient. I can wait. I can slow down. I can wait. I can pause. Presence helps me pause if I need to pause. It helps me express if I want to express. So presence enables a lot of other things to be more possible. How am I going for time?
That's over 2 minutes.
Okay.
But that was great. I loved the conclusion. Not that I need to comment, but yeah, I just like to remember the statement around possibility.
So then we just swap over. So Alexis, how is presence for you? How does it live in you at the moment?
Yeah, I like to allow some space. Even connecting to the word presence. Encourages me to be more self-aware and reminds me of what tools I have to access the moment. My grounding, I particularly am drawn to in the present, my lower body, especially my contact points. Presence feels solid and anchored. And interesting, actually. I don't find the present boring. And it opens up, possibility, inquiry. Although I'm aware, as I become present, of the tendency to go to my mind, the habit of mental engagement, which feels quite distinct to presence, which, I can experience in my body. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps we could invite listeners to share observations or...
Yes, I'd love that. If anybody was witnessing the diet.
Oh, Rachel, you're frozen. It's been a day of technology. I hope you come back to us. In the meantime, please let us know. Even simple things like whether you could see yourself using this with your partner or with your child. My personal experience, and it has developed through exposure to the dyad with Rachel and then in our community. But I have found just setting the alarm has been really quite transformative for my personal relationships and also my family relationships. I'm just going to check that we are still live. Yes. Oh, and I'm sorry that Rachel's not with us. She might join back again. But in the meantime, let's continue because we're nearly at time anyhow. So please let me know if you could imagine this in your daily life and in what way you might find that you could use the dyad. Hello, Mia. Nice that you're here. So Libby, hello Libby, thank you for your comments. Mia says, I really value when someone I hold dear to me expresses innocence, something very simple, such as I've missed you or I feel calm in your presence. Thanks, Mia. Yes, we do love listening to Rachel talk. Libby says, I always like the, what does support look like as a start for open conversations? Yes. So if you have any other comments, please feel free to leave those over the course of this week. Otherwise, I think we'll call it a day. I hope you found value in the demonstration of the dyad. And if you would like to come and join the community and have a direct experience yourself of the kind of intimacy that develops through this process, especially in the context of a very safe space, then please join us on the last Sunday of the month. So the 26th of February will be our next practice group. And then again, 26th of March, please save the dates and come along. And to stay up on our events, you can join the Yoga and Psychology community, our Facebook page, and I'll put the link in the comments below. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry that we've lost Rachel. In fact, you know what? Oh, she's calling. There you go. So, Rachel, I'm sorry we lost you, but you're online. Would you like to, if we just do a little FaceTime, maybe you could say goodbye on the screen. How would that be?
Sure.
Here we go. Would you like to say anything, Rachel, in closure?
Just about the dyad, I wanted to say that you can use any value, quality, any core value or psychological need, and just give each other a bit of space to explore your experience of that thing. And as you hopefully saw, it's a deep listening and exploration process that breaks conversation mode, and which, yeah, every time I do one of these, I find it really relaxing and insightful. So thank you for the opportunity to do one just now with you, Alexis.
Thank you, Rachel. I've let our listeners know about the practice group. They can come along and join us. And thank you for your insight and the opportunity to share with your NBP community.
Yes, and thank you, and apologies for the technical difficulties.
Okay, guys, we'll see you same time, same place, live at 5 next Sunday.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Alexa.
Thanks, Rachel. Bye.